You gotta be kidding me.
Let's jump into a Thursday night football preview here. Must starts, risky starts, and don't starts here. Seahawks taking on the 49ers out in the Bay. Going to have, hopefully, another good Thursday night football game. Did you hear me, Bezos? Hopefully, another good Thursday night football game. Should be
You
a
did
fun one,
great
a
last
divisional
time.
matchup. And let's jump into it. West, we got must starts, risky starts, and don't starts. Guys that need to be in that lineup.
Yes.
Guys that we're maybe a little hesitant on, and guys that we are saying get them on your bench. Take it away with the must starts.
Yeah, there are only a handful of players, I think, out of both these very talented teams that you must start that are an absolute lock. They have a lot of great players that can win you a game, but who is the set it and forget it player of the season so far? Now that he's healthy, I'll just keep saying that it's Kenneth Walker III. And you may be wondering, well, why would you even mention his name? He had another 19-point game. Well, in case anyone's actually analyzing the stats, he only had 5 rushes. What? He had 8 targets and 7 receptions for 57 receiving yards. That's where the points came from. So if you had any kind of concern trying to analyze, was it a fluky game against the Lions and then he's not at full strength, whatever it is, no, he'll be just fine. Keep him, set it, forget it. He's one of the top running backs in fantasy, top running backs of the season altogether. Kenneth Walker, you must start him.
Yeah, absolutely. On the flip side of that, the other running back here, Jordan Mason, is my must start here for Thursday night. And just you might be a little worried after a game where he should have gone absolutely nuclear against the Arizona Cardinals. Similarly with last week with Mike Evans, should have had a better week, but he didn't. And I said he's a must start. You got to keep him in there. Same thing here with Jordan Mason. Still the guy. Tyrone Tracy Jr. just torched Seattle on the ground. Like was the only, I believe he was the only 100-yard rusher this week in the NFL. I believe it's a big bounce back game in store for Jordan Mason. And if you're, you're probably not, but if you're bouncing around with maybe not getting him, in that lineup, I definitely think he is a guy you got to have in there. So he is my must start.
He is one of 4. Tyrone Tracy Jr. was one of 4. Kareem Hunt managed to squeeze in 102 on Monday night.
He did. He just got in there.
And,
dude, he looked so good.
Yeah.
Kareem looked so
vintage.
Like Kareem, it's not like obviously like the explosiveness might not have been there. And I wanted to get an opportunity to talk about this if we could. And I'm just going to squeeze it in right here.
Go for it.
It's just brief. He looked so good. He is the Pacheco role. So, I'm not worried.
27.
Like
carries.
it's
27.
Yeah, dude. He looked so good, and he's going to be so involved. And I'm not kidding. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I spent disgusting fab on Adam Thielen earlier in the year in a desperate moment, and it paid off. I'm not going to spend fab because he's on a bye week, but I think this is disgusting. I think Juju might have flex value. I think he might have flex value. Crazy. It's disgusting. I need to look at the snap counts.
Let's just focus on Thursday night. You're going bananas.
Continue.
You can't even handle this. Risky starts. Seahawks and 49ers. Those are the teams we're talking about, not the Chiefs. Seahawks, 49ers. You know who risky starts are? Watch this. All 49ers wide receivers are risky starts. All 3 of the starters. They're risky. And I don't know if I stole part of your thunder for who you're going to talk about. You let me know. But I got all 3 as a risky start. Juwan Jennings, insane in week 3. 3 touchdowns. Fantastic. Awesome. Where has he been since then? He had a lot of targets, actually. In week 4 is pretty good. 4 targets last week. 1 catch.
Yeah.
Not that hot. That's a risk. And if you were just depending on him, I don't know if he's going to be anybody until Deebo Samuel inevitably gets hurt or until Brandon Ayuk is traded or Kittle is hurt again or whatever it is. But speaking of which, Brandon Ayuk, okay, finally had a good game. Are you sure you're going to roll him out? Maybe. Might be worth it. It may not. We don't know. It's the first good game. And then Deebo Samuel, since being hurt, 10 points and then 3 points. I mean, this is not good. And I really do believe he's still hurt. I think there's something aggravating him in that calf strain still. And I'm concerned about all 3 of these 49ers pass catchers. Oh, wide receivers. You can roll out George Kittle. But the wide receivers, they're all risky starts.
Very fair. Yeah, that's very fair, I believe. My risky start here for this Thursday night football game is Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I hate to say it, I think he's a little boom bust. Like I was trying to think about who I could equate the production to, and I was like, who might it be? Who might it be? And I was like, damn it, is he the new Tyler Lockett? Like I was like, is he the new guy that's like he's so good when he's so good? And you have to keep him in the lineup, and you just know that. Like he's going to have great games, but sometimes they might suck. Like sometimes he's going to get 4 targets in a game. Sometimes he's going to get 12 targets in a game. Like it's so tough. So you'd like to think that in a divisional game where hopefully it's going to be high scoring, hopefully it's going to be a close one, that he will be involved. He should be. He is so talented and he's so good. They need to make sure he's getting the football. It's a risk, and I lean more towards liking the play, especially with some good wide receivers on bye weeks. But it's you never know. You never know with JSN at this point. I don't have a firm grasp on, is it going to be a great week or is it not? But I feel better than I do feel worse. So he's my risky start this week.
I love him. And yeah, after I got burned with that 5-point game in week 3, and after a really weak 3-target performance in week 1, yeah, I get it. He's a risk. He is always a risk for the entire season. When it pays off, it's fantastic. Here's who is not paying off at all this season, except for one game. My don't start. Do not start. And I really had to think, who for sure should we not start? Because as I feel like there are only a handful of players that are set to forget it from these two teams, and a lot of risky starts, a lot of players. And I even thought about Jackson Smith and Jigba. But the only player that I would say confidently don't start is Brock Purdy. Don't start Brock Purdy. He is not as good as we think he is in fantasy. Is he a franchise quarterback, all that stuff? Yeah, I see it. But back-to-back NFC championships, but in fantasy, he has only scored over 17 points once. And that's in 6-point passing touchdown, by the way. He has only thrown multiple passing touchdowns once. And that one good game was the same game. Over 17 points, the same game he threw multiple touchdowns. That's the Juwan Jennings game. How many times is he going to do that? I don't think very many. He has thrown as many games with multiple interceptions as he has with multiple touchdowns. And don't get fooled by his legs. They're not producing into a ton of yards. I mean, he's fine. He's mobile, but he's not a top 10 quarterback. He's not the guy you're going to start your week with. I know the Seahawks let Jared Goff throw for whatever they want, and Daniel Jones looked impressive, but I'm not going to say that Brock Purdy is the guy you must start. I don't think he's a risky start. I think you should not start Brock Purdy.
Do you mind just messaging that to our league mate who has him, who just said he didn't want to trade for Kyler Murray from me because he has Brock Purdy and he can just start him over Patrick Mahomes? That'd be awesome.
Who? Which guy? Who is this?
Patrick, dude. I was like,
come on.
I was like, Mahomes isn't doing too hot, huh? And he was like, yeah,
are you
Purdy.
serious?
And I was like, okay, enjoy.
Mahomes and Purdy are terrible. Hold on. I mean, let me just take 1 second.
Right
you want to know? I mean, I'm not going to message him or anything, but like, you want to look at where Brock Purdy is right now? He's 13th. He's 13th, and then
that's really riding based off of the one.
That's the one. That's the Juwan Jennings. And Patrick Mahomes is barely top 25. You need better quarterbacks, Patrick. Okay, trade with Noah, make a deal happen, and don't start Brock Purdy. Get a different quarterback.
Sweet.
Anyway, who's your don't start?
My don't start is it's Juwan Jennings. I just think it's too. I think we're too far removed from the big game where I haven't seen enough since then to be, and because the start of the year was encouraging with him, and obviously he has a massive game when without Debo, but with everyone kind of back, with maybe Ayuk is also back in a groove here as far as being a top target getter and target earner in the offense from Brock. I just have it's too much to start. And this is the thing with Thursday Night Football. It's like you're starting your week with these guys. Like, don't get behind the pace. Like, don't let the game get away from you too much. So it may, you're saying it's a risk just for all of them. And I honestly agree. And I just think the biggest risk comes with Jawan Jennings. And so for that reason, he's my don't start. But that's it.